Welcome in everybody to another live episode of what is this, week 9 preview show, Baltimore Ravens, Denver Broncos edition. Glenn, it's week 9. It's
Going
just
quick,
insane.
man.
Yeah, the season is moving forward, and we are here to make sure that you guys are informed and ready for this game. I'm back. Had a little bit of a work event, but glad to be back in seat with Glenn and of course, DK. Looking forward to breaking down this game because I think there'll be some interesting things that we'll dive into here that maybe people aren't readily aware of because their record isn't great. But I'm interested to talk about this game. So before we do, of course, we got to keep the lights on. Got to shout out our awesome partner, BetOnline. What do we got going on over there, Glenn? I know there's some new things going on, dude. Nice one, by the way.
Yeah.
The microphone call, all that.
Yeah. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. So yeah, from the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football to NBA, NHL to entertainment even, and political props with the election season still here. Head over to BetOnline to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And Jimmy, that's kind of where I want to I just want to get a little feel before we get into our preview here, just of what the odds makers think. What are they saying? Because we know how incredibly accurate these guys tend to be. And look, this is a hot team. They've won 5 out of 6. They're going up against the Ravens team who also won 5 of 6, but losing their last one, it just doesn't feel as good as the Broncos, I'm sure, are feeling coming off of their most recent win. But as you can see here, the Ravens are favored by 9.5 points. I'm going to click on here and bring this up. So
does that feel like a lot to you?
It feels like a lot.
Am I giving too much respect to the Broncos?
Well, look, the Broncos, I think, are a way better team than anyone expected, but I do think their recent schedule and the teams they've beaten may have inflated how we all look at them, and maybe the odds makers are seeing through that. But yeah, man, a resounding victory is the prediction, at least from the Sharks or the odds makers, I should say.
Right. That is interesting, Glenn. I'll tell you what, because if you had to ask me, I would have said 5-7, maybe a touchdown.
Okay.
Only because I know we're going to get into this, but when you kind of look at the statistics, now statistics can be skewed based on schedule, like you talked about.
Yep.
And they've had some stinkers this year. And certainly they've hit a lot of bump in the roads with a rookie quarterback. And we're going to talk about all that, where the Ravens have opportunities, to be successful, some maybe threats to their victory. But before we do, DK has officially been given a new last name in the comments.
Has he?
And look, the tag is Nut Nasty, DK. So,
oh my goodness! All right,
you see that, DK?
He wasn't ready for that, dude. This is a family show,
right?
Okay,
right.
It's a family show, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. But hey, DK, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. I mean, you can take it as a compliment, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
That's the way I would choose to receive. Just like remember Numra?
Yeah, there you go. You just take it as a compliment, right?
I chose to take Numra's request.
Maybe you scroll down so Satya doesn't see it, but yeah. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. But as always, let's start with the hi Satya. Let's start with the injury report because we had a lot to talk about, especially from the Ravens side of the house, right, Glenn?
Yeah, I think Ravens fans were a little bit scared, at least. Some were, with the lack of participation from Lamar Jackson the first 2 days of practice this week. Didn't get out there for Wednesday or Thursday session, but back out there as a full participant on Friday. And he says he's 100%, just getting his body right. Look, they ask a lot of Lamar Jackson, right? He takes a lot of bumps and bruises, and so this was nothing more than just another opportunity for his body to get healthy as it could possibly be. And so Lamar Jackson will be out there, thank goodness.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thankful for that. Of course, it all fell on today, and I'm happy about that. But let's talk about a few others. Now, look, the cornerback room is something we should keep our eye on because Marlon Humphrey missed the last game. Oh, Wiggins also missed the last game. So let's check in on the status of them. Of course, Marlon Humphrey has been limited all week, which to me, in my mind, if Marlon's limited, that means he's probably playing. And same thing with Wiggins. He went limited and then full. So that's also trending in the right direction. Armour Davis, of course, not trending in the right direction. This is not a knock, and I want nothing but health for Armour Davis, but certainly I think if we had to trade the health of Armour Davis for the health of the other guys, sorry, Armour Davis, but we are at least happy that the other two guys are trending, and we hope you have a speedy recovery. But Arthur Maulette, of course, also trending, and that's important because, look, Arthur Maulette is a physical, really important part of that secondary that is struggling in and of its own. So any guys we can throw out there to continue to make improvements there is important. But Glenn, the part I really want to focus on is that interior of the defensive line.
Yeah, lost a couple guys last week in the game, and it looks like some of those guys are going to be missing, or at least one in particular. Brent Urban still out with the concussion, so we'll certainly be rooting for him to get back out there. That guy, it's funny. He's probably, I guess it's safe to say he's probably number 5 in the D line room, but man, important. That's a finds
a way to make a play at least once a game. You find him doing his little skip thing. Yep. You know what I mean?
Exact. Finds a way to somehow impact the play with the limited snaps he gets, or impact the game rather. And I think he brings a lot to the locker room. His personality certainly is a boost. So we'll hope he gets back out there. Broderick Washington looks like he has cleared any injury designations and is going to be out there, which is a huge boost with the injury situation with Michael Pierce. And then Travis Jones, that's the big question mark. Didn't participate in the first 2 days, Wednesday or Thursday, gets out there in a limited fashion Friday. So he's a true question mark is how I would kind of label Travis Jones. And if they're without Urban, Jones, and Michael Pierce, man, that's a lot on the shoulders.
Yeah, sorry, I missed it, Glenn. What ended up happening to Michael Pierce? I've been totally disconnected this week because the hotel I was at had the worst internet on the face of the planet. Don't get me started. But what ended up happening to Mike?
Yeah, he got hurt mid-game.
Well, I remember that, but I just didn't remember what happened following. Like, what is he on IR now?
I believe he is. I'm trying to find that confirmation here.
Let me see if I can find it.
But yeah, it's not. It would not be good if we're without Travis Jones,
Michael Pierce on IR. Yeah.
So yeah, that's not going to be good, and it certainly put a lot of pressure on Broderick Washington and Justin Metabike if that were the case. But let's just hope that Travis Jones, being a young guy, can make the recovery enough to get back out there and at least be 80% of his normal self. That would be absolutely huge. But the one name I'm going to get your take on real quick, Keaton Mitchell, full participation all week in practice in his second week since being activated off IR. He has technically one more week available to practice before having to be activated and put on the full 53-man roster, or he has to revert back to IR, which that doesn't seem like that's the expectation. But my question to you, Jimbo, with a full week of participation, every day a full session, are you thinking we might see the return of Keaton Mitchell this weekend?
Dude, it's crazy because I still lean on the side of giving him the full 3 weeks because of the seriousness of the injury. But I also don't know why not, right? Like, other than just the rest, if he's healthy, let's roll. Let's see what he got. Let's see what he's got. Let's put some juice in this offense. Deontay Johnson, outside of him, of course, put some more juice in it and see what he's got. So I'm still going to say no, but there's a chance, like a 30% chance.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's how I end up. I think if anything else, they're just going to be cautious with him with the way Derrick Henry's he's healthy. He's a workhorse. Justice Hill playing at an all-time level. So why risk it? But I will say it's exciting to see that he's on his way back, because the thing about Keaton Mitchell that I think was unique to him is that he had the ability, like we talk about Derrick Henry as a volume guy, a guy who needs a lot of work to be able to become truly as effective as he can be. Didn't seem like Keaton Mitchell needed that. You give this guy 5 carries and he'll make the best out of all 5 of those.
Right, exactly. Carry or 2, 50 yards, 25 yards of carry.
That's it.
No, a touchdown, no biggie. You know what I mean?
So I love that he's not a guy that we're going to have to go, gosh, where are we going to find 12 carries for this guy? Because he needs that many. I don't think Keaton does. He's just ready and willing to just explode and be shot out of a rocket. Did you intro me today? I just saw that comment.
What happened?
DK said, how did you intro me today? I guess he's curious about how.
Nothing different than the normal, DK. Nothing different than the normal.
But as far as the Broncos go, let's just quickly go over their side. Looks like The defensive end, Zach Allen, had a rest day early on, ended up being a full participant. Mike McGlinchey, little bit worrisome with the lack of participation early in the week. Full participation, however, on Friday's practice, as well as Surtain. So it looks like they're about as healthy as a team could be outside of the safety, PJ Locke. But yeah, pretty much a full roster available for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, good for them.
Good for you. Good for you.
Mossy says, did you see that Jameson won AFC Offensive Player of the Week? This is an L for Ravens D. Also rated Texans. Are they done or it's bleep in form?
Well, I'll tell you this. The Texans, I don't know what the hell is going on with them. This year, they just haven't looked nearly as good as last year. I know the Nico Collins injury is certainly, it's hurting them. It's hurting my fantasy team too, let me tell you.
Well, and I think there's potential. There's an argument that it's certainly more significant than even the Diggs injury.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, Nico is a better player than Stephon Diggs.
Right.
Nico is just, I mean, I talk about him all the time. One of the most underrated players in the whole league. But, yeah, as far as the first part, that's definitely not a good look for the Ravens. I don't think he would have won that award had one of those interceptions been caught. Certainly not if more than one had been caught. He wouldn't have won the award. He would have lost the game.
And certainly if the last one was caught.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have won. You can't win it when you're losing.
I tell you what, though, Jameis is the gift that keeps on giving. I don't know if anybody else saw. I saw a quote today on Twitter. I don't know how old it is, but he said, I think this is pretty close to what he said. He said, everybody keeps judging me on a season from 5 years ago before I got LASIK. I couldn't see anything in Tampa until 2019. I thought Bruce was black.
Who said that?
Jameis Winston.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious. That guy is a unique individual. No doubt about it. Holy smokes.
Yeah, man.
Never mind. I'm just going to. Okay. All right. Yeah, Massey, appreciate the super chat. Thanks for the participation. As always, we certainly appreciate it. But let's get into, I'm going to at least give you kind of an overall view of, these guys and what to expect. But do you have any, now I know you don't always have this. Do you have any of the season stats?
Oh, I do, sir. I'm going 2 weeks in a row.
No way, dude.
Dude, let's go. However, that being said, Glenn, it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn to do the Ravens offense?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to figure this out eventually. What is it, week 9? We're still in preseason mode here at 410 Sports Talk. But as far as the Ravens,
go if you want me to.
No, I have it ready. As far as the Ravens offense, right now they're number 2 when it comes to points scored, averaging 30.3. They're first in yards at 452. Yards per play, they're first at 7.1. When it comes to yards, no surprise. Exactly 200 yards, Jimbo. Not 200.1, not 199.9, 200.0 on the nose. Of course, number 1, 6.2 per carry. Jimbo, 6.2 per carry as a squad.
It's crazy. And the crazy thing is, Glenn, like before this season, people would be like, oh, well, that's all Lamar. He might, other times he might have been our leading rusher, whatever. It's Derek. Like as much as it's Lamar, it's Derek, right? Like
absolutely.
That's the impressive part about it.
No doubt. The running backs are certainly pulling their weight. Lamar is not doing it all. And then as far as the passing game, 5th right now, the Ravens are 252 on average through the air. And let's see here. Is there anything else? Oh, this is the big one here I want to point out. 3rd down conversion, they're 3rd, 46.5%. Red zone scoring, Jimbo, number 1 in the National Football League, 75.7% scoring rate when they reach the red area. It's as good as it gets, Jimbo, in the league.
It is. Now, before we talk about this matchup in depth, I do want to go through some stats on the other side of the ball. Not on the other side of the ball, excuse me. On the Broncos defense before we kind of break down this matchup. Because I think there's some interesting things here, Glenn. And while I'm doing this, if you don't mind, either one of you two, can you pull up their first like few game schedules? I'd like to know who these statistics were made against.
I got it. Whenever you want
cool. All right, cool. So first of all, 3rd in the league in points given up per game at 15, which is staggering based on the team that they're about to play. Also top 3, so 3rd in the league in yards surrendered per game at 282. And then if you look at a few other things that I think are really impressive, 3rd down conversion, they're middle of the road at 36%. But If you look at their red zone scoring, they're third at 41%, and touchdowns, they're second at only 1.5 touchdowns. Now, Glenn, I will say, I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel like there's a few areas of weakness. One of them where they're also, kind of middle of the road. If you look at the what is it? The opposing, or sorry, the completion percentage, they're 18th at 65%. That might be part of their defensive strategy. And then, really the other stuff, everything else outside of that is top 10. I mean, rushing, they're only giving up 106. So that's seventh. Passing, they're only giving up 176. That's fourth. I mean, I don't know where this defense is really bad, right? So that's what struck me about the spread, right? If you look at this team on paper, they're a solid football team defensively, right? I'm not going to say in all phases, but I do want to go through this really quickly because I think it adds context if Glenn, you want to throw this up here, their previous schedule. Because look, we had a gauntlet previous, like the Browns was supposed to be, we made it up the hill. Now we got a little bit of a downhill, right?
Yep.
But look, they lost to Seattle, who's not a great team. Lost to Pittsburgh, who I think schedule is still a bit deceiving. Now they beat Tampa, and that's a good team, and that's a decisive win. They beat the Jets by one, an ugly game. The Jets obviously didn't turn out to be great. They beat the Raiders, who we lost to, but we know that there's like a curse of Gardner Minshew or something around here, right? Like the Raiders aren't a good team. And then lost, of course, to the Chargers, and then beat the New Orleans. I remember that game. I think wasn't
so beat up
quarterback.
Dude,
Yeah,
they had a lot of injuries
out and everything else. And then they beat Carolina. They doubled them up. So, I mean, I guess their most convincing win is probably Tampa Bay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We are most definitely you think what'd you say, DK? They lost to the Chargers. I don't know what he's saying. The Jets? Anyway, I think it's probably the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But all that being said,
the Saints were beat up and they're not good.
Yeah, they were. Carr was out and their top two receivers were out. That was a bad game for them. But all that being said, I think for sure we are the most difficult matchup that they will have to face until now.
Oh, for sure. I think that's a good point because look, the Panthers, what are they? They're in the bottom three in the league, right? I think we can all say that and agree with that. That's one of their wins. The Raiders, they're going to be picking in the top 5. New York, probably the most disappointing team in the entire league. I don't think there's much of a question when it comes to that. Tampa's a good win. That's a really good win. New Orleans was so beat up. If you'd have beat New Orleans in week 2, I've been impressed. But we beat them in week 7. Now it was a resounding win. And look, this defense is no joke. They're opportunistic. They will get, if they get their hands on it, they usually catch the ball. And usually it's going the opposite direction. So, yeah, they're a really, really good defense. I'm going to throw up actually, you know what? I'll just do it right here.
Yeah.
I'll pull up their stats here and just to point out a couple key players that I think we got to keep an eye on. I think there's some pretty interesting matchups on their defensive side versus what we're bringing out on offense. I know Jimmy's got a really nice key matchup here, but I went a little too far here. But as you can see, their leader in tackles is Brandon Jones. Their safety, Riley Moss, is their second leader, who's their number 2 corner. Then Barton kicking in 48. Their leading sack getter, Jonathan Cooper, linebacker, has 5.5. Zach Allen behind him with 4. And Justin Strad, I think is not exactly sure how to pronounce that. He has 3. And then in the secondary, they got some really good players. I mean, there's no better cornerback. I mean, you'd argue that if there's many better players in the National Football League than Pat Surtain, who already has 6 pass deflections, 3 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. As you can see, when he gets his hands on it, he will take it the opposite direction and can do so very, very quickly. So this is a very good defensive group, a team that I think when people saw Sean Payton go there, they wouldn't have guessed that they'd be carried by their defense.
Right.
But they're a really good defense. And look, they got some good players on offense too, but this is clearly a team that's best on the defensive side of the ball. They're the number 3 overall defense. And say what you want about their schedule, they're getting it done. And you got to give those guys credit. So it's going to be a tough matchup here, Jimbo. It's an exciting test for the Ravens offense.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting and fun for us to watch. Just like you said, Glenn, another opportunity for this offense to simply prove its dominance, right? And I have a feeling that will be the case. But I'll tell you what, as far as an opportunity for the Ravens, I talked about it before. Now, look, they're top 10 in stopping the run, but 106 yards to me still feels like a lot as an average based on the teams you've played. I know it's top 10, but you got. So if you add on to that, I mean, how many do you have to add on to a team's average generally when you play against the Ravens? What would you say? 70? 50 to 70?
That's so bad.
I mean, but like just based on how the game, 50, we'll call it 50. We'll be conservative, right?
Yeah.
50 still, that's 156, 157, yards on the ground, couple tutties for one Derrick Henry. I think this is going to be a game, Glenn, and I want to talk about this strategically because, from a big picture, I kind of want the Ravens to start, if they win the toss, to start taking the ball. Because I think it would be advantageous.
Fast.
Yeah, be advantageous to our defense. And what you do is you just absolutely take their soul.
Mm-hmm.
You rush it down the field. You take 7 minutes, like Greg Roman style, punch it in, and then you give your defense an opportunity to go out there and you make that offense a bit more one-dimensional. Even though it's early on in the game, you're already putting them back on their heels, already putting some urgency on them. I just think with us foot on the gas as an offense, we're a better football team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we should, want to go out there and get the ball in halftime. I think right now, and this could change later on, I think it would be a decent strategy to employ. And I think the run game is going to be an opportunity where we can really take advantage of that.
I don't mind it. The only thing that worries me is the last, I think, 2 weeks, we've, on our first drive, driven down the field and then turned the ball over. Once was an actual turnover. The other was a turnover on downs last week. But yeah, before those 2 games, I think we were the highest scoring first drive team in the league. So if we can get back to that, then I like that strategy. Take
0
the ball,
passes,
put the pressure
dude.
on them. But the backfire, yeah. Now the part that could backfire, Jimbo, of course, if you get stopped, now they have the advantage because they're getting the ball to start the second half, and you just come up dry on your first possession. So it's risky, but I like it with our offense. I think that's interesting there. And
and look, at the end of the day, I guess it depends on your opponent. Are you really nervous about a Bo Nix led offense in the Denver Broncos? You know what I mean? Say you screw it up and somehow, like you said, they get the quote unquote advantage.
Whose defense will be out there to stop them?
No, you're right, but still,
yes, I would be nervous.
Oh man,
until our defense can show they're not garbage, then I'm nervous. And Bo Nix had 3 passing touchdowns last week and a rushing touchdown, 4 touchdowns last week. Yeah. I mean,
gosh, now the old taglines just aren't working anymore. Like, the Ravens do so well against a rookie quarterback, and I mean, obviously that hasn't been the case this year, even though we won. Jaden Daniels is tearing everybody up, but he certainly did his damage against us as well. So,
but to your point, on the season, Jimbo, he's got 8 touchdowns and 5 picks.
All right, so
to your point,
yeah. I mean, anyway, so that was just something I was thinking about. I was
it's
like,
just
man,
our defense, man.
Right. But like, so if that's the point, if you want to keep them off the field, let's keep them off the field. Let's not start with them on the field.
That's true. That's
you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just have them on the field as little as possible. Put our best horses out there. Let's put 7 on there, dude. Let's put 7 on the board and say, all right, we got a 7-point spot. Let's go.
Yeah, and look, this is a team that has, again, somewhat undersized linebackers that can really run. And so it'll be interesting how the Ravens rush attack plans to attack them. Do they try like the Panthers did with Chuba Hubbard, where they just tried to pound him right between the tackles and just go right after him? Or will we try and get, to the outside and hopefully get Derrick Henry matched up against a 235-pound linebacker or smaller and and just kind of take our chances knowing he outweighs him by 30 pounds?
Right.
That's kind of be the interesting thing. And I really hope and pray, Jimbo, that we get back to play action. We got away from it last week. I don't understand the game plan last week to get away from something that's been working incredibly well. And again, we were never out of reach. He had 11 carries for 70-something yards. He averaged like 7 yards a carry. Like, it wasn't for a lack of success. It wasn't because game script. None of that. We just took ourselves out of it like we tend to do on occasion. And I really hope we get back to run the ball, play action pass, take advantage of the fact that teams have to overload the box to stop us. And throw the ball off of that, because while they might have and probably do have the best corner in football, he's not the only guy out there, and they have some guys in their secondary that can get had. But yeah, man, I really, really hope our offense can get back on track because look, there's nothing that's going to help this defense more than if the offense is hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, and to that point, Glenn, I've talked about the run game a lot. I think as far as get out your popcorn and watch, Flowers and Surtain is going to be fun because I'm going to hold to this. I'm going to stay firm on this comment. I think that Zay Flowers is a top 3, as far as wide receivers, top 3 most difficult guys to guard in a one-on-one scenario. I just think he's an absolute joystick. It's ridiculous, especially in the 5 to 7 yard range. Like we saw what Devontae Adams did last night to that young rookie. That was last night, right? Yeah. And absolutely embarrassed him. Like there's no overlooking the vets that have such an incredible release and have all the experience.
How about Garrett Wilson with this jump man?
Oh my goodness, dude. That was just ridiculous. Yeah, that was insane. But I just don't think that like physical ability to change speed and direction, which ultimately outside of deception, but change of direction are the primary skills needed to get open in a quick fashion. Dude, who does it like Zay right now? It's just insane to me to watch. So watching him and Surtain battle it out, I hope we get to see, for the sake of entertainment, I hope we get to see a good bit of that. So that's my key match of this game.
I love that. I can't wait to see it. Shout out to Tanja. Just got home from work, right to the stream. I love to see it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But I think that is a fun matchup. I think both those guys will probably have fun on Sunday, just testing their skills, iron sharpening iron, and those two are going to be going at it. I think that's probably the most exciting matchup from just a football perspective. But the one I'm interested in most is the redemption tour of Rashad Bateman. Look, last week had some bad luck, after coming off probably his most celebrated game, a game where fans really embraced him. He had the long touchdown. He had a couple chunk plays. Everybody's like, man, we got our guy. And then he has the ball bounce off his face. And look, the sun was in his eyes. You could see it beaming off of his clear face mask, but it bounced off his face nonetheless. So I think that this is going to be a game where they really try and get Bateman his confidence back, instill the confidence of the fan base back in Rashad Bateman. And he has a chance to take on Riley Moss, who is their second leading tackler, and probably for all the wrong reasons. I got to imagine that, he's probably getting a lot more targets when you have Surtain on the other side because they don't want to throw it to him. And so I think Bateman is in line to have a pretty good game. I'd love to see Deontay Johnson get involved. I think he will have some packages, but still working him in, it could take some time. But Jimbo, I just quickly wanted to, because we didn't talk much about Deontay. You didn't give your opinion on the trade. I don't think you were here for that.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right.
So what were the Panthers thinking when, and in case you guys didn't know this in the chat, the Panthers would have gotten a comp pick if and when Deontay signed with a different team next year. It likely would have been a 5, but could have been as high as a 4, depending on the value of the contract. So, Jimmy, why did the Panthers give up Deontay Johnson and only were able to move up 10 spots from the early part of the 6th to the late part of the 5th and forfeit that comp pick to us now, by the way?
Yeah, I'm going to say 3 words: lack of patience. Lack of patience. I think if they sit and wait, Monday, they get a better deal. But Eric said, done, fine, yes, and it was over, right? And it was just one of those things. I think it's lack of patience. Yeah, just a weird one. But look, like you said, I didn't really give my opinion. I think it's a good pickup, especially just like you laid out, Glenn. I think for the compensation that we gave up, I think it's an excellent pickup. The only thing is, I wish we had gotten another Panther.
Jadeveon?
Yeah. That seems like the one that we need more. Now, at the end of the day, the Ravens could just be like, F it, the defense is beyond repair, and we're just going to score.
Laying the groundwork. They're building the relationship to call him back for Jadeveon. Or David Tepper's going to turn on SportsCenter and watch everyone bash him going, wait a minute, now the Ravens are going to get probably a 5th-round comp when he leaves. So not only did they get Deontay, they got a better pick from it. Like, it's the silliest thing. He might see that and go, damn it, these Ravens, they fooled me, and they're not going to do it twice, so I'm not trading Clowney to the Ravens.
Wouldn't that be a real bummer? Wouldn't that be a real freaking bummer, man? Let me tell you what. But Clowney, I think, is going somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. for sure.
He's definitely on the move, and I'd love it to be here. But
let's hope it's not Seattle.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if he wants to go back there, though.
Well, only because of Mike there. That's the only reason.
Yeah, no, I see it too, but I don't know if he had a falling out with the front office who's still
That's
there.
true.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Didn't.
But yeah, so anyway, I think it's a great pickup, and it makes the Ravens even more. I mean, speaking of guys that are ridiculous to keep a hold of at the line, I mean, Deontay, his route running is stupid.
Oh, absolutely insane.
Now, he's had drops. He's had his problems, but the dude can get open.
And he can move with the ball in his hands after he gets it. He can make guys miss. G. Isaac says, screens, please. Yes, this is the perfect team to run screens against. One thing we're going to get into when we talk about we are talking about I believe they're number 2 or number 3 in the league in sack totals. And so Isaac points this out. I think a team that's that hungry for sacks is going to be, pinning their ears back, dump it right over their head. Let that aggression work against them. Dump it right over their head for a screen. We've been a great screen team all year. Need to see more of it this week. Yeah,
can't disagree with you. Let's go. Let's get those linemen headed down the field all in unison with Justice Hill behind them. Anyone, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But, that play was beautifully drawn up. So I agree. All right, Glenn.
Did you give your X factor, by the way? Because mine is Bateman. Mine's definitely Rashad. I know he was my offensive matchup, but he's also my X factor. He's hitting both categories today, Jimbo.
Yeah, I like it. Mine is Justice Hill. Justice Hill is my X factor in this game. I think there's an opportunity for him to, as we are pounding the rock and running it with Derrick Henry, I think there'll be an opportunity for him to break free, like you said, whether it's screen or otherwise, just an off-pace runner. Have big plays and really make a big impact in this game. So I don't know if Derek's his not carries, but his plays on the field will be limited in a way that it will allow Justice to all of a sudden just dominate. But I think, not necessarily that he'll dominate on the field to get a ton of carries, but I think there'll be plenty of an opportunity for him to make an impact, and I think he will. That was a really long-winded way of saying Justice Hill is my X factor.
I like it. I think we didn't see him at all last week, it felt like.
Dude, I was just circling the drain on that one. I was like, whoa, holy crap, dude. Goodness, I can hear myself like, you sound like an idiot. Shut up.
Oh, stop it. No, Jimbo. No. You do not sound like an idiot. But let's get to the other side of the ball here, Jimbo. We got to talk about the Ravens defense matching up against this Broncos offense. Do you want to give me some Broncos offensive stats here, Jimbo, or what?
Sure. I'll give you some Ravens defensive stats if you want.
And then I'll kick the
gotcha.
Yeah,
that's fine with me. All right. So first of all, guys, you know who our defense is. There's no saying otherwise. There's no painting other.
That's how I watch defense, Jimbo.
Let me see here, Glenn. I'm trying to. Oh God.
That's how I watch our defense.
This is what. So Henry has this new thing now where he wants to surprise me with every toy that he has. He walks up and he's like, "Dad, cover your eyes," and I already know what it is, and he's like, "Open your eyes," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But if I do the same thing to him, he's like, "Cover." I'm like, "Cover your eyes." He's like,
"Kids always cheat,
man." I'm like, Henry, and then when I'm like, no, Henry, move your hands and close your eyes. Then he closes them real hard, I'm like, okay, no more covering eyes, just close them.
That's right.
Right. But anyway, so that's Glenn, just basically.
Yep. Scared to watch.
That's awesome. Okay. With that being said, our defense, rightfully so, should be watched that way. Right now, we are giving up 26 points a game. We are 26 in the league, which is not great. Yards given up per game, 361, 25th in the league, bottom of the barrel so far. Let's see, yards per play, still bottom of the barrel at 5.8. Third down conversion, 29th in the league. Can't get much worse than that at 46%. Basically half the time on third down, they're converting. Essentially what's happening here. Fourth down, we're second in the league. Not that that's saying anything, but whatever. Red zone defense. We're third in the league at 41%. That's a bit of what am I saying here? What did I just do? Oh no, I'm good. I just switched here on you, Glenn. My bad. We are not good at red zone defense. My bad.
What are we, 19?
19th. Apologies. Yeah. I went after I covered the whole eyes. I went back to the wrong tab and had some hope there for a second. Yeah. So 19th in the league, 60% of the time they're in the red zone, they're scoring. Ouch.
That's not good.
We literally we get scored on double the amount of times that the Broncos get scored on at 2.9, which is basically 3. They're at 1.5. So we have to score. How does that math work? We have to score 4 more times. Do you see what I'm saying?
Where's Bob Tierney?
Based on, you see what I'm saying though, right? Like we would have to score 4 times and then they would score 2 times. Like, anyway, my math is terrible, but you understand my point. We are not good in the red zone. We give up a lot of touchdowns. However, rushing the ball, and I think that this has a lot to do with our offense. We only give up, let's see here, 69.9, 70 yards a game, and that's number 1 in the league. And then per rush, we give up 3.3, also number 1 in the league. And look, that can't really be contributed to the offense. That's certainly the defense because the rushing play is coming. So, and then let's see. Let me give you some passing stuff here, Glenn. So I think this is also important.
Don't do it. I don't even want to hear them because I know where they're at.
Last in the league at 32nd, giving up a staggering 291.5 yards per game in the air. Merry Christmas, Bo Nix. And completion percentage, 66.14, 31st in the league. 67.2, 22nd in the league. That's brutal. That's all this is I'm going to give for the sake of people's salty tears right now.
So bad. We're so bad right now.
Not good, Glenn. And let me, before we break it down even further, and we'll get to their stats. Let's get to their stats and then I'll ask you the question. I'll save my question.
All right. So as far as their offense, they're 20th in the league, averaging 21.5 a game. They're 25th in yards per game at 307. Third down conversions, they're 28th, converting at 32.4%. Red zone scoring, they're 13th, 57.6%. Rushing yards per game, they're 15th at 121.5 yards per game. And then passing yards, they are 27th at 186 per game. So not the most high-scoring, high-flying offense, but definitely a team that's gotten better as the season has gone along. Definitely their best offensive performance was last week, albeit against the Carolina Panthers, who are competing to be the worst team in the league. But still, they are trending in the right direction nonetheless. And quickly want to give you some of their player stats here, Jimbo, just to kind of give you a individual look at what they're bringing out. Because I think they have some talent, but they just don't have enough of it. Like they got some guys, but they don't have the amount of guys that a team like the Ravens or, one of these high scoring teams can put out there. Bo Nix, obviously you mentioned he's a rookie, but he was a 6-year college player. So
6 or 7.
I think he was 6.
Okay.
But it might've been 7. I'm just going off the top of my head, but yeah, a guy is spent a lot more. It's not like a traditional quarterback that comes out after.
Yeah, he's older than a Mormon missionary coming out of college. He's older than Dennis Pitta when he came out to play.
He's like,
you're old, Whedon. Bro.
You remember when Brandon Whedon came out and the Cleveland Browns drafted him at 28 years old?
He makes all these married guys with kids at BYU look young.
That's right. Yeah, Bo Nix got more experience than a typical rookie, but he's a rookie nonetheless. And so as you can see on the screen here, 63% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 5 picks, been sacked 11 times. Javonte Williams, their lead back, 90 carries, 345 yards. It's 3.8 per carry. Only 2 touchdowns on the year so far on the ground. Big difference between their
a lot of touchdowns.
That's a good point. Their backup running back, Jaleel McLaughlin, averaging 4.1 a carry, has 1 touchdown. But here's the part. Bo Nix is sneaky athletic, Jimbo. I'm sure you've heard that term before. Yes, very sneaky athletic. He certainly has enough speed to get first downs if you give him the opportunity to do so. As you can see, he's their leading rusher when it comes to touchdowns as well, with 4 already on the season. Has yet to fumble the ball as a ball carrier. So you got to give him credit for that. And then, look, it's pretty clear in the passing game who they want to get the ball to. It's Courtland Sutton. He's their leading target getter, and it's only close because Bo Nix likes to dump the ball down, and so Javonte has a pretty good amount as well. But as far as wide receivers goes, it's a pretty big drop off between the second target getter and Courtland Sutton. They want to get this guy the ball. He's the leading receiver for receptions, yards, touchdowns, you name it. He's their guy. And he's a really good player. Outside of him, Adam Troutman, their tight end, he can run a little bit. He's a pretty good player. Little Jordan Humphrey, maybe the best name or one of the best names in football, but hasn't gotten in the end zone. Low yards per catch average. Josh Reynolds is a solid player, a guy I think the Ravens were thinking about in the offseason, kicking the tires on, but they don't have a ton of guys. They got Cortland Sutton, and then they got a bunch of guys, Jimbo.
Yeah, just some what's the acronym what's his
Jags.
Jags. Just a guy.
You got it.
Yeah, now and no wonder the Jags are so bad. They're just full of them, right?
That's right. It's the whole team of Jags.
Yeah, but this is my question, Glenn.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, what does this defense do to turn things around? Look, all the emergency brakes have been hit. It's an 18-wheeler going down the highway, and all 18 tires are screeching.
Oh, yes, they are.
How do we get this thing turned around now, Glenn? What has to happen in your mind?
Yeah, well, Tanja mentioned it, or says things will be better. Says he had solutions for some of the issues, and I like the questions that were risen. Like, what's going on? Why are guys moving at the ball when the ball's being snapped? Still in week 8, we're having communication issues. We're having busts where guys are wide open. I think the biggest thing that we need to do is just communicate better. The calls come in faster from Zach Orr. He has to be anticipating the next call before he's faced with it to get the call in sooner so guys can, at the very least, get lined up before the snap, Jimbo, like at the very least. And then the second thing, I know it's super valuable to be able to disguise your coverage pre-snap. You don't want the offense knowing exactly what you're in, of course, but you can't disguise it to the point where guys are completely out of position and they're set up to where they have absolutely no chance to defend the guy that they're assigned to. So, yes, disguise your defense, but don't do it to the detriment of all the players on the field and put them in positions where they just have no chance to make a play.
Yeah, I mean, I think people get confused with the word that they're synonymous, easy and simple. Like, we can keep things simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy to decipher or easy to play offense against, right? Like, if your defense can just execute, that doesn't mean it can't be simple, right? So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just have to be better. Like, you can't be the worst defense in football when you're playing for the Baltimore Ravens. That's just bottom line. Like, it could never be. You could be the worst defense elsewhere, but not in Baltimore. And right now, they're
unacceptable.
Defense. But as far as, let's get back into our matchup here. To me, like I mentioned, they want to get the ball to the outside. They want to stay ahead of the chains. They're certainly going to try and run the ball. And in my opinion, that's where it starts. We have got to stop the run. We saw issues with stopping the run against Tampa and with Cleveland. They were able to get chunk plays on first down, set themselves up for short second and third downs, and that just opens up the playbook. You can just do so much when you're forced with 2nd and 3 and 2nd and 2 on all these plays. You can literally completely open the playbook. The defense has no idea what you're doing because you can run it, play action, you can pass it. I mean, you can take deep shots, you can get the ball out quick. I mean, literally anything you want if you're running the ball successfully on first down. And then also what that does, it's going to allow play action pass on first down. So now you got a couple 8-yard runs. The next time you're faced with it, you fake the run, suck up the linebackers, bring down the safeties, and then that's when the chunk plays happen. So my defensive key, Jimbo, is make them one-dimensional. You have got to stop the run against this team. Have to.
Yeah, Glenn, I think it's funny that in different ways we are kind of asking for the same thing, right? Because my point in starting off with the ball and scoring early is the same idea that you have in that, like, if you stop the run, they become one-dimensional. Let them do that. That's fine. But, like, if we can make them fight with one hand tied behind their back, obviously that's going to make it advantageous for us. My key to the game, or my defensive matchup, for this game is this Ravens defensive line versus the offensive line of the Denver Broncos. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because we're banged up front. With Pierce going down, like you said, Glenn, with Urban still in the concussion protocol, and then with Travis Jones hurt, right? Yeah. Like, the big question mark. I have him as my defensive X factor this game, because if he goes, I mean, that's such a big deal as far as how they can stop the run and get pressure. Michael Pierce, interior wise, seems to be the best at it for our team. Travis is right there. He's got it. He's been able to do it in spots. So he's my X factor for this game. And I'm really hopeful that he can, be a positive, be out there in this matchup versus that O-line. and really can help take control of this game from the defense. Because people say it all the time, right, Glenn? If you control the line of scrimmage, which we don't struggle doing on offense based on our ability to rush the ball, then you win the game. Can we control the line of scrimmage when we're on defense is the question. And Travis Jones is a big piece of that.
Now, I'm going to give mine. And while I do that, I need you to come up with one if Travis Jones doesn't play. Because if he doesn't play, you got to have a different one. But mine is Marlon Humphrey. Him coming back, he was playing as the best Jimbo. He was playing the best corner in the entire National Football League in the 2 weeks prior to his injury. And even outside of that, if you count the entire season, he's a top 5 corner according to PFF. That's how good this guy's been. He's making plays on the ball. And not having him out there last Sunday, I mean, we saw what Tillman did to us. I mean, he absolutely cooked Armour Davis. And not like Armour Davis, I expected it. Not that I think he's a bad player, but that was a lot to ask from Armour Davis coming off of IR and immediately thrust into basically the number 1 corner spot. That's a lot to go from sitting on the sidelines to cannonballing into the deep end, and he certainly did that last week. But I think Marlon back this week is a stabilizing force, allows guys to fit into their more natural positions. Obviously, Mollett coming, being healthy because there was a little uncertainty earlier in the week how he was going to be out there. But having him back, guarding Cortland Sutton, I think he gets another interception in this game. I think we forced the ball out of Bo Nix's hands. Maybe a Dafe Owe. No.
Not going to go that far?
I didn't tell you this off, so I'm going to tell you on it. I did over 11 miles Monday, over 12 miles yesterday.
On the bike.
On the bike. But hey, look.
No. It's a start. I just didn't want people to be like, dang. Son.
Oh, I know. Dang, my man is booking.
That 5K is going to be easy, bro.
Look, guys, I don't have yet the passion for running that Jimmy has, but I love bicycling. So I'm using bicycling to get my legs and lungs in shape and cardio up for when the training really begins. And I get my running shoes with my wedge and all. My wedged running shoes.
That's right, dude.
But yeah,
I'm bringing.
I'm trying not, and no days off. I tell you what though, Jimbo, longest ride today and best my legs have felt yesterday at the same time. So
look, one of my favorite quotes. Look, I know he's inflammatory. People feel differently about David Goggins, but one of my favorite of all time. People talk to me all the time about overtraining, getting rest. Why are you worried about training before you worry about overtraining, right? Like, so it's so true. Like, dude, you look, I agree with you 100%. Your body 9 times out of 10 just adapts to it instead of breaking down. Your body just says, well, this is what we do now.
Yep.
So I might as well get used to it. Right.
No doubt.
That's awesome, dude. Let's go, baby. Oh,
yeah,
Cole.
buddy.
Cole, if you're watching, bro, let me tell you what, I'm be whispering in Glenn's ear during that race.
I got my sensei here, Cole. You're screwed.
Dude, what's DK got to say here? We should watch.
We should each do a leg of a
triathlon.
How long is the leg?
DK, that means you got to swim, though, because I'm not swimming. So, if DK, you feel good about swimming?
And I'll do the bike.
And you do the bike?
Yeah.
Dude, and then the race is, the run is at the end?
Oh, dude. Jimmy's going to catch us up. How far is each leg?
It depends. There's like sprint ones, but I don't think they're relays. So, it just depends.
Okay.
There's all different distance.
Dude, I'm road rash styling it if I'm on that bike. You remember the game Road Rash?
Where you kick the people?
Dude, where you kick people, you got a chain, you slap the other competitor with a chain. Oh, yeah. Anybody in the chat who remembers Road Rash?
Yes.
They need to recreate that game.
Was that a Sega Genesis game? Man, like originally?
Dude, I'm trying to remember. When
the graphics were terrible and you're like, boing, and psh, psh.
Oh, they were bad. But, man, was that game. You get a couple of buddies in a room together and play some Road Rash, you might end up scrapping in real life. Like, it's ugly, bro.
Let's go, dude. I love it.
If they make that today with today's technology, that could be a really, really fun game. Maryland, Texas says it was Sega, and I'll choose to believe. You're thinking of Street? No, it's called Road Rash. Road Rash.
You're thinking Streets? Okay.
Yeah, Road Rash. Oh yeah. See, my man Maryland, Texas, he knows. Yes, Road Rash was the best. Oh yeah, you just be fighting, you be in blades, bicycle, skateboard, all that.
Glenn's gonna get kicked out of this race so fast.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna elbow someone in the head while I'm going by. Like,
and you know what the worst part of all it is? The most pretentious guys of all are the bikers.
Oh, I bet.
They're so bougie. They got their spandex on. And it's so funny to me because 9 out of 10 of them wear the spandex and they're like big boys, you know? So like their calves are ripped up, but they look like they're in their second to / third trimester. Sorry if I'm talking to anybody out there, but I've had bad experiences with bikers. And so at least you won't look like that, Glenn.
No, I won't look like that, but I'm not getting the gear. Unless I go, I mean, look, when I see the guys with the gear, I'm like, unless you're really moving.
That's what I'm saying. All of them have the swag with the logos on it as if they're sponsored.
Yeah, they're not.
Bro, they're not sponsoring you, dude. No. Stop it.
And unless you're really going for times, you don't need the wind, aerodynamic.
Right.
Stop it. Stop it.
Come on, man.
You don't need it. You really don't. But yeah, this is going to be a fun match. I think this is a good game for the Ravens to get tested in ways that could help them towards the end of the season. Again, really good defense. It's going to man up on the outside. They're going to come after you. They're second in the league in sacks. They're going to challenge your outside receivers. This is part of the reason, also the fact that they just gave him away, but part of the reason that Deontay Johnson's here is to have another guy on the outside that can separate and can beat press man coverage. And he can certainly do that with his package of releases and his ability to get open. So now we have 3 guys that are bona fide, just man beaters on the outside. And then we know what we have with the tight end position. So, I mean, it should be, unless we just shoot ourselves in the foot, we outsmart ourselves, we do dumb stuff. And I loved when Todd Monken was asked about the direct snap, because he just owned it. He said, look, it didn't work, so it was a bad call. And he's right. But also, I think he kind of made it sound like I can't make that call on 4th down, because he said, look, I made that call earlier in the year and it worked, but it wasn't on 4th down. And I think that's the difference. Don't do that stupid stuff on 3rd. If you want to try that on 2nd down, okay.
Just leave us some time to make up for it.
Exactly. If you want to try some tomfoolery, some trickery, do it on 2nd. Don't do it on the final, most important down and kill the drive because of it. And look, be honest with you, I should never see the Wildcat again with Lamar Jackson when he's the quarterback. Just shouldn't. Just absolutely shouldn't. I don't care if it works, doesn't work. Horrible. Don't do it. Makes 0 sense. But no, in all seriousness, Doe Jimmy, this should be a really fun game to watch.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to this game. Some things about it, like we talked about, do have me a little nervous. Their defense is really good. Our offense needs to show up. I wholeheartedly think our offense is simply better than any threat their defense can pose. But really, what makes me most nervous is if their defense does get an opportunity to get their hands on the ball, takes advantage of that, and now we're relying on our defense to help us anytime this year. That makes me concerned. So all that being said, let's get right into let me give you my the other guy I was going to say, Glenn, X Factor, if you want, might be a gimme, but Kyle Hamilton. And this is why I say Kyle Hamilton, stick with me if big Travis Jones doesn't play, because if our defense is struggling, he's literally the only guy I can depend on to make a game-changing play. And he might need to do that, right? He's our best pass rusher. He's our best everything. So Kyle Hamilton is my X Factor, because if anyone can be an X Factor on defense, it's Kyle. I don't think anybody else.
He's literally the only guy. He almost won the game single-handedly by himself last week. He had the beautiful sack where he set him up, had no idea he was coming. He comes untouched, strip sack, and then game-winning interception. He dropped it 3 times, Jimmy. He dropped the same ball 3 times.
Yep. Really.
That's a really good pick. He almost won it last week for us by himself. But look, you know what time it is, Jimbo. It's time for Glenn to get back in the winner's circle, right? To regain my rightful place.
That.
I mean, I think we all agree that the throne is missing Glenn. You know what I mean? It's calling out. It's like Doctor Strange's cloak, how it has its own, or his cape, whatever you call it, how it has its own thing. That's how the throne is. It's going, where's Glenn? What are you doing here, Jimmy? You don't my ass fits so perfectly on the throne. It's like when I sit down, it's like the dent in your bed, on your side of the bed. Like how you just sit right in that dent. I sit around that throne goes, the throne gets happy. I'm happy. The chat's happy. The people's champ is back on top.
It's going to be a while.
It's going to start right here, Jimbo.
It's going to be a while, Glenn.
And I love the fact that I was the last one to put my answers in.
Of course you do. All right, let's get right to it. You want to, DK, you want to throw Oh, one of these days, DK's going to end it early DK's going to end early just to see who's dancing. My mom used to do that in the car when all of us as kids were in the car and our friends were in the car. I won't name who it was, but she used to put on Man, I Feel Like a Woman. And one friend, she would turn it off really fast to see who was singing. And one friend was always belting his heart out every single time. But in case he's watching, I will keep it anonymous. All right, let's get to it. Over under number 1, Lamar Jackson completion rate, 68.5 is the line. He's 66.9 on the season. What say you, Mr. I went last?
I say under. Look, if he's 66.9% and you put it at 2% nearly over, and we're playing a really good defense, so in that sense, I'm going to say under. What do you think?
All right. I'm saying over because we're at home and we need a bounce back game. And I think it's relatively impossible to guard Lamar Jackson.
Well, he's going to be throwing the ball. So
yeah, well, the passes are going to be wide open. The receivers are going to look. Bateman needs to make up for his mistakes. Lamar's balls are going to be on point.
Just by the way, DK, this is coming from someone who doesn't do it. I would have loved to see a Zay Flowers over under in here, just because I'm so curious what he does against Surtain. I'm so curious.
Yeah, it is going to be really fun to see how that breaks down. Because I do think Zay just poses problems. And Surtain, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, but he's a bigger corner. Like, to me, I feel like if I'm Zay and I see a bigger corner lineup, I know he's got the range and he's got the long arms for a guy's size, and so he can jam you up at the line. But I'm excited. At least me, like in my head, I'm getting excited because I know that in a small space, I have an advantage. So it's going to be fun.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, remember Jimmy, I felt like used to struggle against the smaller guys.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if he can't get his hands on them. Now, if he gets his hands on them at the line. Different problem. You got that right. And let's hope that – and I have confidence in Zay's ability to get off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and DK says so hard to pin Zay's stats. DK, you're the czar, dude.
Yeah, man. Come
on, bro. You're the guru, dude.
I don't even think of difficulty as like a challenge for you. Like, I'm like – DK said it was difficult? What?
Yeah, what?
Number 2 over under is Derrick Henry's carry. 16.5 is where he puts it. 11 was the last week's total. Jim, this just has to be over because it just has to be.
Yeah, no, I agree. Has to be over. I don't know if it has to be over. I think 15, 16 could be a sweet spot. It could end up being right at 16. But I think it's over for 2 reasons. 1, because he's getting 10 in the first drive. And then 2, because they've got to get back to basics. It's that simple. I don't want him to be worn down by the season's end either. Now, Derrick is a different type of player, but so I do want to pace him to a certain extent, but 16.5, I feel good that this game, it's over.
Yeah. And maybe the wild card could be if Keaton Mitchell's activated, but I gotta think that with Thursday night's game against the Bengals upcoming, that they're probably going to save him for that one and make sure he doesn't have a short turnaround, be active in this game, and then have to flip around and play a Thursday game. So, yep, I like that one. DK says over as well. All right, defensive side of the ball. Ravens pass defense, 5.5 is where he puts it. 5 is how many they had last week. What do you think, Jimbo?
Yeah, so I went under on this one because Jameis Winston isn't under center. That was my only reasoning.
No, that's a good one. Tried to throw us 4 or 5 picks.
Right. So in my mind, there's no one better than Jameis at up in your stats. Defensively, now obviously we didn't take advantage, but PBU perspective, we did.
There you go. And I think we're on the same page. I think Bo Nix, while not great at like pushing the ball down the field, he's been pretty good at not throwing a bunch of picks. Only 5 picks through 8 games. And he just doesn't have he doesn't give the defensive opportunities to have a lot of pass deflections. So I'm going to say under, but just barely. DK agrees. Broncos receiving long is the last of the over-unders, at least for the standard here. Broncos receiving long. So how long will be their longest reception? He puts it at 37 yards. I'm going to say over because this defense stinks at stopping long plays. And until they show me anything different, I'm going to say they still stink at stopping long plays.
Yeah. I feel the same. Even if it's a shorter pass, you talked about it, Bo Nix, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's not like made his hay. Oh, it's 37.5. I'm still taking the over.
Still taking the over.
Yeah, but for the sake of those submitting their answers, make sure it's 37.5 is the line. But I know he hasn't been like pushing it down the field like crazy. All that being said, one missed tackle is all it takes. One blown coverage is all it takes. And I think at this point we're par for the course.
Jimmy, apparently you look like a body double. But for whom? That's the true question. Just for himself? Are you the real Jimmy Haskell the Rascal?
Is this a simulation?
Dude, let me see what question. Do you have a question that you know you could ask me to find out if I'm the real Glenn?
Yeah. Do you want to know it?
Sure.
Okay, when we were kids, Glenn, you were the first one to get a cell phone.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Had a little hangout at the house.
Okay.
You just got the celly. It was dope, right?
Oh man, I was feeling myself, huh?
And there was a really cool feature on this phone. You could record.
Okay.
And you thought it was really funny to record something and then come back in the room. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, restroom trip. Yep.
And everyone just died of laughter over
Yep.
and over and over again. And that's also where the Glorito.
Oh yes, the Glorito.
Yeah, dude.
That's what I thought you were gonna go.
I'm a Glorito.
You know, we were children. Okay, guys, we were children.
Literally, we were children. Like I think I was 11 or 12.
And then, of course, with Halloween, Jimbo, I would ask you what you said on that porch when that lady called you out.
You see, guys, I told you.
We finally talked Jimmy into doing some mischief at night. We're like, go up on that porch, take those pumpkins, and smash one of them right on the ground. Soon as he got up on that porch, a yelling voice came out of the window. Get the she said, like, get the hell away from me. And he was like, see, guys.
And I just walked away. I wasn't even nervous enough to like run. Because normally I would run if it was a giant dude, but it was like an old lady who like, I'm pretty sure she smoked like a chimney. So like she couldn't even yell that well.
Yes.
And so I just walked away. I remember you guys were hiding behind a bush that's no longer there.
You were just yelling at us. See, guys, I told you.
And I walked right past towards the bush where everyone was at.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Blew our cover. Immediately gave us away. But
and I am leaning over because my mother-in-law uses my office when she's here. So I allow her to have it. So I'm literally leaning over in a different I'm still in my office, but this is the bed that she's on. I'm just here leaning over on the bed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, so that's why I look like a body double.
Laying down on the bed.
No, she's hanging out with my wife and son.
Gotcha. Okay, good. That's good. But let me get into our last ones. We got a couple left here, Jimbo. We got our score tiebreaker. First over under 44.5 points is where DK sets it. I'm going to say over just because our offense is scoring it. Yeah, I mean, have we ever been under all year? I think over has been the consistent answer all year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Even in the times where it didn't go well for us.
That's the reason why I'm winning.
Okay. All right.
You know.
Look, hold on, Jimbo.
Oh, you got the shades again? Oh, gosh.
Future's bright. You know what I'm saying? Future's bright. I
guess so. We'll see.
You know what I'm saying? I don't look back.
Well, you could, I'm in front of you because I'm a star. You're getting a glare. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, is that why I need the
That's
shades?
what it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to put a hat on too.
Oh gosh.
The lug nuts.
The lug nuts.
Never forget. Never forget. All right. I say over. DK agrees. All three of us say over. Second tiebreaker. And this is really where I'm happy I got to enter mine last. Jimmy says 450.
Yep.
DK, way different, says 370. And I say 365.
Dang, you both are going to be wrong.
Look, Jimbo.
How are you both? This is the thing I don't understand. How are you both guessing under 400?
Look at last week. You guessed like 1,000, and we had.
Yeah, but that was the one time I've been wrong, and we're at home.
Yeah, but this is probably the best defense we played all year.
Okay. I mean, but under 400 seems disrespectful to me at this point.
What's our average?
It's over 400.
Probably. I mean, yeah, definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
But, there's got to be some bad games. You know?
That's true. Look,
I can always do my classic move where I go.
Their average. Their average is 452.
They've had a couple big ones. Okay, let me just say this.
Okay.
I'm going to do my classic move. The reason we're not going to have many yards is because our defense is finally going to snap out of it. Play so well, it's going to give us short fields on offense. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, you said that one. Yeah, well.
Yep, that's my move. That is
wait,
my
but didn't
move.
you use the opposite logic to pick some of the other over-unders based on our defense being bad?
Who, me? That's my new move. Who, me?
Yeah,
That
that's right.
That doesn't sound like me.
Hey, the election is coming up, Glenn. You sound like a true politician right now.
That's right, dude. I mean, I'm getting text messages, Jimbo, from random numbers. Like,
bro,
I just can't wait for
normally
this to be
I
over.
wouldn't respond, but out of principle, I've gotten so many that I type stop every single time.
Yeah, I'm about tired of this.
The other day, I got one in the name of a person, and it talked about working people, and this person doesn't have a job. So I sent back, that isn't me, and that person doesn't have a job.
That person does not have a job. You know what, Jimbo? My whole thing is, was this a coordinated plan for the NFL to have the trade deadline be the same day as election day? Are they trying to distract us?
Right? Seriously.
Pay attention to the trades, guys. Not what's going on over here.
Not the burning ballot boxes.
Yeah, don't look at that.
Hey, are you voting on the day?
On the day, dude. On the day.
Dude, I'm excited to at least go there and like feel the vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what's crazy? Everybody talks about they have these lines and stuff. I mean, you know where I live. I don't know if it's because of where I live. Never a line. In fact, Jimbo, I usually go in. I don't even see anyone else. I just go right in. Right. I go right out. Never had to wait even a moment. Nope. So I feel lucky in that regard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. But all that being said, folks, that is it for us tonight. Looking forward to the game on Sunday, being back here with you to party up after the Ravens win. You guys have a great weekend. We'll be back soon. See ya.